Welcome back to the community, everybody, and thank you for being part of it. I truly appreciate it. Of course, you know to subscribe. It's free. Hit the like button. That helps the algorithm to get the channel shared out more. So it makes it nicer to do the videos when I know a lot of people are seeing them. If you get a chance, check out the website. There's a nice members ride section and a tech section I'll slowly be adding more and more to. And also there's t-shirt stickers if you want. That's your choice. It just helps support the channel. Okay, last week we tried out the Ultrasonic cleaner. I was actually pretty impressed by it. It did better than I thought it was going to. So this week I'm going to go ahead and do the carburetor that I wanted to rebuild for this engine. So I might as well use the Ultrasonic cleaner, but that isn't what this video is about. We're doing the Solex Carb. It's a 30 picked 2. Not much different than the 34 for taking it apart and things like that. So this will probably help a lot of folks out that have the pick 34. So I'm going to go over a few things while I'm loading up the Ultrasonic machine. Sounds sophisticated, didn't it? Come on, let's go. Let's get on it. So we have our 30 pick 2. And like I said, if you have a Solex 34, you might want to watch this video. Relatively, there's 98% the same thing. So, you know, I didn't even start the Ultrasonic cleaner up yet. We won't need to. So let's start taking this apart. First, you'll want to remove the return spring. Try to keep your parts somewhat in order, you know, that you're comfortable with. Okay, I'm going to bring the camera in closer. You're not going to see me as much. I'd rather you see the carburetor so you don't have to look at my face. Now, one thing I forgot to do, and I'm going to do it right now. I almost screwed up. I'm a human being. Remember that. We want to get a little bit of this heavy stuff off. So what I like to use is these little brushes I get from the dollar store. They come with a brass, a steel. Yeah, they're not high quality, but they're $1. So, and they come in a 3-pack, and I just toss them when they get crappy. I want to get the heavy stuff off real quick. So let me do that. I just used some basic card cleaner. I get the cheap stuff from Walmart and just gave it a quick scrub real quick. Nothing major, but we're going to be putting a solution into the cleaner, and you don't want it just contaminating the whole thing immediately. So we removed our return spring. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, let me take this off the front. That's what grabs the return spring. That right there. Remember, keep your parts nice and neat so you can get back to them a lot easier. So I'm going to remove everybody does it in a different order. I'm going to remove this next. That's your choke. I call it a choke thermostat. Get on there. Whoops. You don't want to put these little plastic bushings, take it out so you can see it. You don't want to put them in the Ultrasonic cleaner, they're plastic. So, and you wouldn't even want to soak that in chem tool like I'm going to use. So let's take this off. And here it comes. The plastic bushing stayed with the screws. Now this here will have a hot wire going to it, and I'm not going to get into big details, but see the spring? That's what ends up opening and closing the choke. Okay? As it heats up, the spring. Okay, there's a little piece of plastic in there, like a guide. Okay, so we're going to take these screws off the front. I have a universal, I shouldn't say universal, carburetor rebuild kit. So usually they come with a ton of gaskets that fit like, you know, 10 different carburetors. So I'm hoping I have a gasket for this in there, but my main thing was to do a video on this, and also I'm kind of cleaning it up for somebody that the engine is going to. And I figured it makes a video. It shows you guys some stuff maybe you don't know. And also give it a little tap, break it loose like that. Little spring in there, don't lose it, okay? Let me take the screws off of the top first, because I could swear I used to get that apart without taking that whole shaft out, because I'm doing more or less a quick cleaning with that shaft in. Okay, my arm might be in your way. Remember, you have 5 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, on the top, and that's what you're taking out. So let's spin these out real quick. I'll speed it up. I may have to give it a little tap. There we go. Now I'm going to try to not rip this gasket for right now. I probably have one, but I don't want to rip it. It came off with this. So we're going to work on the top section first, and then we can go ahead and soak this while we're working with the bottom part. So let's see if we can get this off. Yep, it ripped anyhow. Right here, there's a small tear. So I'll put that aside. Okay, this is your shutoff valve right there. When it's hanging down, whoops, there you are. When it's hanging down, gas is coming through. When your float lifts up, when the fuel bowl fills, it pushes that up and shuts the fuel off going into the carburetor. Okay? Let's take that out. I think that's a 14. Let me grab one. Okay. Now I'm going to show you something else very important on here. This is actually a good Solex German one. Yeah, it is 1.5. So a lot of times now everybody's getting Chinese ones for replacement stuff, and that kind of stinks. So let's go ahead, take this out. It's been in there a while, so be patient. It's brass, don't act like a monkey with it. Just take your time. Remember to have a towel down so you can keep your parts somewhat clean and in order. Although I took this bath towel from the house and I got caught. I think you've seen that in the last video. Let me grab a towel here and
that's why I had to get new bath towels. Because you keep taking them and bring them up the garage, and you said, oh, I don't know where they went.
But it happens. There is a gasket here. It's a copper gasket. There's a couple different thicknesses to these, okay? You have to have the right one. Okay, we'll put that there. And I'm going to go ahead and try to get this off again. Looks like it'll come out now, and it did. All right. And that piece is out. Now, this here you can take apart. You just take your nut off there, these 2 little straight screws, and this assembly pulls apart, but I'm not doing that today with this one. I'm going to put this in the ultrasonic cleaner while we start disassembling the bottom. And that way it gives us a jump start and I don't have to drag the video out, you know, a couple million years. So let's get set up for that. Now here's what I'm going to use for the carburetor. The Berryman ChemDip carburetor parts cleaner in a 1-gallon can. There's a reason I say this. Do you see this can here? Don't use that in an ultrasonic cleaner. I read numerous articles. I'm not a chemist, although I did play it on film once. I think that what it is this is water soluble and the other one isn't. But whatever you do, do the gallon can and do it at your own caution. I'm not a lab technician, so I'm only telling you what I do. That doesn't mean you have to do it. You can use simple green, you can use vinegar. If you use the simple green with aluminum, like your carburetors, use this one because it doesn't cause the aluminum to turn black. It's more user-friendly with the aluminum. So I'm not trying to talk a lot, I'm just trying to help. So let's open this up. I've used this quite a few times. I bought it at O'Reilly's. I think I paid like 25 bucks, but I've cleaned so many carburetors with it, it's ridiculous. So it works good, but I've never used it in an ultrasonic cleaner before. So we'll see if using it in the cleaner helps. Try to shake some of that off. That's a little basket in there. Okay, let me put some tape on there just to make it pour a little more even. Here's a little hack for you. I've done this with paint and it seems to help, but I do weird stuff, so, you know, don't always go by me. I'm not an expert. I just pretend to be. Okay. Hopefully the tape stays on there. My tape seems crummy. And pour it out there. Seems to pour a little evenly. Let me bring the machine a little closer here. Okay, it actually did, the tape didn't stick on one part. It did pour like a pour spot, so that actually did help a little. So there's a little hack for you. Don't go above that max line, okay? Let me move this out of the way. One part is going to be getting this out back into the can because you save this stuff and reuse it. Probably have to pour it out the side and hope for the best, huh? We have this stripped naked. Technically, like I said, you can remove these two screws, remove the nut, and slide it out of there. I'm not doing that this time around with this one. Okay, whoops. I bumped the button. I'm just going to drop that in and drop that in. Now I hit the TC button. Pretty impressed, aren't you? That's to turn the heat on to heat it up. So let me heat that up before I even start the process. We'll put the lid on and we'll go ahead and let it warm up while we're doing that. You're lucky. You don't have to see me again. I got it zoomed in. So we're going to go ahead and start disassembling the bottom part while the ultrasonic cleaner is heating up. Be gentle. This is plastic. It holds the float down. Take that out. Set it aside. Okay. Get your float out. It should pop right out. And your pin, of course, the pin came with it. It slides through the float. Okay. This is actually, wipe it off, that's an original made in Germany Solex float. So test it, make sure it floats, put it in a glass of water, see if it goes, you know. So that was a weird noise. And you don't want to buy an aftermarket one if you don't have to. So keep those parts together, okay? I'm going to show you how to get this out. You can't see it? Okay. I'm going to show you how to get this out in a moment. There's a little ball bearing under there and that needs to come out to soak it properly, okay? So first, get a larger screwdriver on there that fits so you don't strip it. Okay. Put that there. And the chem tool is brass friendly, so I was just looking at something a minute. Okay, so next, I think this is 14. You're going to take this off. This is your fuel bowl. And no, it ain't 14. It's a 13. Just give it a little smack and it'll come loose. Now, I'll get out of your way in a second. Calm down. When you take that off, there is supposed to be a brass or, a copper washer there. There's not. I'll put one on. That's kind of odd. Now, if you look down inside, okay, your main jet is inside of here. So you're going to go through that way with a slotted screwdriver. Okay, so find a screwdriver that fits in there like I just didn't do. Okay, can you see? And then turn it loose. Okay. No big deal. You can do this. And if you don't have an ultrasonic cleaner, it's okay. You can soak it. You can go buy that B12 chem tool in a gallon and it has the basket and you can soak your carburetor. Okay, there's the main jet. So we got that apart. Let's take off. There we go. And we will take off your mixture screw. Just like mixing it up. Air and fuel. Sir, mix a lot. My brain's everywhere. Okay, be easy with that. Okay, so we got that apart. Now, a lot of you are going to say, why didn't you take that apart? This is where, wow, this one's tight. That's good. Holy crap. Okay. If, in fact, you wanted to put new bushings in and everything, you take out not that, not blah, blah, pull it all out. And that's where you put your bushings, okay? So, now, how you are going to get that out in there. That there is threaded inside so that you can pull it. And I'll show you what you use. You have one, trust me. What this is, it's one of your screws that hold your taillight housing on. Well, it holds the lens to the housing. That's the threads they are. So you just thread it in. I'm in your way. I'll show you in a second. This one's a little bent, the screw, for me using it for that. Okay, so I threaded it in. Let me do something a minute here. Give it just a little turn because I don't want to. No, I got it with my hand. Okay, now you do it what way you want, but this is the way I do it. Okay, I'm going to take a pair of vice grips. Going to turn this upside down. Now watch. When you knock this out, did you need to see this? See how it's threaded into there? Okay. I give this a little tap. And there it is. So, this proves two things. I didn't make an idiot of myself for now, and it worked. Let me bring you in. The screw is in there. I'm just going to leave it in because I'm just going to wipe that off, okay, to tap it back in with. Don't lose that. You must have that ball bearing, and no, it's not probably the same size as a BB. So don't go raiding your Red Ryder. Okay, and make sure that's clean. Got that apart, flip it around. Let's pause a minute and let's check to see where our temperature's at. Okay, so let's see the water temp, or the temperature for the chemical. What the heck? It's taking forever. Well, I'm gonna leave that in there a little longer to warm up. I don't know why it's taking so long, and I did it wrong. It should have been warming up. What I'm going to do now, while I'm finishing turning the screws on this, is turn it on. So let's hit our on button, and hopefully while that's doing its job, you can still hear me. Now, excuse me, on here, there's a little clip here. Let me see, can you see it? Okay, I'm gonna take that off. So let me do that next. I'll show you it when I take it out. It'll make sense what it is. It's kind of like a cotter pin. It's just really tiny. And that's what's holding it in. I know I'm in your way. Give me 1 second. Okay. See how tiny that is? I don't want to break it, you know what I mean? And there's a little washer that goes with it. Okay, so that's off of there. So we got to take these 4 screws off of there. Don't lose your spring. Put it next to, see how I have everything lined up? Like that went there with a little pin. See how I keep things together? Because you have to. Okay, let's get these 4 screws off the pump. And that's loose. Okay. Okay, whoop, everything went crazy there. Okay, now, let me bring you in again. When you take this off, okay, wait a minute, you have your spring, and I call it a diaphragm, is what I call it. The male end of it goes in the hole right, whoop, the hole right there, okay? So when this arm pushes, it's pushing this, pushing the spring, and then it pumps, okay? So we're gonna put the spring and the diaphragm together. We're gonna throw this in too because of course we want this all cleaned up. Okay, back up guys. Whew, it was too close there. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm not gonna take this apart. Like I said, I'm not replacing bushings or anything, so we're gonna put it in that way. There's another washer for the spring. I missed it. Okay. And you can take, if you feel the need, this little clip off and it'll take this arm off, but I just don't need to because it wouldn't make sense right now to do that. All right, but it came off real easy. So that's brass. You want to clean that because your fuel sprays through. Can you see that? There's a hole there. Probably ain't gonna see it, but put that there. Now we're gonna put those parts in too and clean them up. We're down to 2 minutes on the top coming out. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the camera. I'll be right back. Okay, while you were away, I went through my box of tricks. Okay, now I didn't have a couple things, but I'm going to clean them up. There's no tears in the diaphragm because I use them on other carburetors. I did find a gasket with a perfect fit. Okay, but let's go over something a minute. I know, of course. Whoops, wait, I got it stuck. I got it stuck. Okay, here, come here. When you're doing this, take your old gasket, obviously, and compare, okay? A lot of these gaskets have holes in different locations, and you don't want to block anything off that's supposed to be functioning properly, okay? So, make sure the gasket doesn't cover anything need be. These 2 little holes don't matter. Our original gasket didn't either. But compare the gaskets and we got a winner. All right, I just wanted to go over that. Didn't mean to bore you. Our part, or I should say our top half, is done. Okay, so let's see how this did. Okay, always do my little, I got a hole already, a little brush here, see how that does. Because it seems to loosen stuff up really, really well. Yeah, it does. Okay, here I'll show you what I mean. Look at that. It does do a nice job. Now remember, you're only, oh, that's wiping right off. Wait a minute. Woo! It did way better than I thought it was. I'm liking it. Well, what we're going to do, and like I said, sometimes you do have to soak 2-3 settings, and it's better than it sitting 4 or 5 hours in ChemTool. So I don't know if this is going to fit in there without sticking up out of the top. That's okay. Now remember, we only spent like 80 bucks on this or whatever it was, so I'm going to go ahead, put our lid on. I never did turn the heater off. It's still on. Okay. And we're going to set this for 8 minutes. Okay. And I'll pause the camera and come right back. I'm going to let that run for 8 minutes. Then I'm going to show you me taking it out, flipping it over so the other part submerges. This is a 2.5 liter. I could have spent money and bought like one 3 times the size. I didn't feel the need to. I'm trying to put a lot of money into the project here. Okay, so we're going to turn it on. We're going to let that run on the timer for 8 minutes. I'll be right back. Okay, so while you were away, I went ahead, just sprayed this very mildly with carb cleaner. That's all I did, sprayed off, and I used my air compressor. I rinsed it with a little water, blew it off real good. I got to tell you, this works better than just dipping it in the ChemTool. It actually came out really nice. It really, really did. Very pleased with it. I can't say enough. And no, Harbor Freight didn't give me it or say, here, you can keep this if you review it. No, I bought it. So, now I'm not saying that this is the be-all, end-all, and you have to run out and get one, but I got to tell you, it speeds the process up. And I know with this electrical current going through there that it's obviously getting into little crevices and stuff that it needs to. So this is great. Make sure that you blow everything out with air. And like I said before, if you have to, I buy some things from Harbor Freight. The rest I buy Cobalt, Snap-on, Craftsman, what have you. But if you got to run and get a little pancake compressor for like 40 bucks to blow stuff off or blow your tires up, it's worth it. So I only got a 10-gallon compressor. You can go get like a 2-gallon just to do that type of stuff. But this came out nice. I'm really, really pleased with it. So let's set this aside. Let's check, because we're going to have to flip this. Okay. And see. Drip, 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 drip. Okay. And you can see the bottom. Can you see it? See the line right there? Look how clean that got that. And that was only one sitting. One sitting. All right, now we're going to flip it over and put it back in. So let's turn it upside down. Okay, so we're going to put it in the opposite direction. And we're going to let that run now. Okay, let's put our lid on. I do that every time. Now, I'm going to go ahead. I can't put this in there, so I'm going to spray this with carb cleaner, use a soft brush just to clean the cuckoo off of it. I don't know where I got that word. Buy one of these. It's a tea infuser, I believe is what it's called. And don't go stealing it out of your wife's cabinet, because I don't want to hear when you get your butt kicked. You can take little parts like this, put them in the tea infuser, put it in, let the little chain hang over, and then when you run it, you can pull it out. My wife has 2 of those, but I know if I go take one, it could be bad. So I won't do that. And that's it. I'm going to clean up some of these little things, let that soak, and we'll be right back. Go grab a cup of coffee. Be right back. So it turned off. I would like to see how hot the solution gets. I don't know why I keep checking this for. And she's climbing, 90, and 104. Looks like we're peaking out at 104 degrees. You probably can't see that. 108, and we're getting near 110. Now remember, I have the lid off, so it's going to start letting heat out. So Okay, let me, 110. Whew, straight up NASA stuff here. Okay, let me back up the camera. I only backed it up a little bit because you don't need to constantly see my ugly face. And that way we can see how it looks. Oh my, I love this thing. Absolutely love it. I am amazed. Oh, okay, sorry. Look how nice this come out. Do you remember what it looked like in the beginning? You know what's fun with these is to do this. That's triple O steel wool. Might not do it right now. It takes a little while. You can almost polish these up. I think that's cool. But anyhow, I think, I don't know. Should we put it in one more time? Because it looks pretty clean. Now I've got to rinse it with some water and blow it off, blah, blah, blah. You know the deal. But it looks really clean. Let me see. It's going to be hot. Our little pump cover. How that come out. Will you look at that? Wow. I am amazed. This thing is perfect for what I need. Okay, let me back the camera up here so I'm not in your face. And what I'm going to do, and I can't take you down the house with me. I don't have running water in my garage. I could rinse this stuff off and blow it off real quick, so I'll be right back. Now, we have all of our parts cleaned up. I went ahead and really cleaned the crap out of this. The ultrasonic cleaner is amazing. I will not go without one now because it gets down inside of everything, but I went ahead and polished some stuff up. You could see how nice that looks. And like I said, you could take your two little screws out there, take your nut off, and pull this whole assembly apart. I didn't feel the need to today. So, but it all come nice and clean. Bottom came out really good. Nice and clean. I mean, remember, we're talking like 50-year-old carburetors here. And the shaft's nice and tight on this, so that's a good thing. So let's start putting it together. I cleaned all the internal parts. I also got some carb cleaner and used a soft brush on this, cleaned the float up and tested it. And it floats without filling up with anything. So let me bring you in close. You don't need to see me. You need to see what's going on. Okay, first things first, let me get the top together. Okay, so we're going to take our shutoff valve. Do not forget that I call it a shim. And there's a couple different sizes. If I can find the little graph, I'll put it up here. And where'd my wrench go? It does, it's like that for a reason. Because it knows when to shut off if it's shimmed properly, if that made any sense. I'll try to find the graph and put it up because I forget the different size shims. But I'm obviously putting the one back in that is in there already. Give it a little snug, but don't overdo it. Don't act like super strength with it. Okay. So that's in. Let's flip to this side. Now you should put a new one in, okay? I don't have a new one on me, but there's no breaks or rips in it, so I'm okay to use it. But the carburetor kit I had been used, you know, on a previous car. I'm trying to do this and talk at the same time. Here, make sure. Here, let me do it over so you see what happened. You have to have that arm all the way up because this is slotted. See that? And then see how it holds it in? And this only goes one way. See the extra hole? Okay, all right. So let's go ahead, put that there for now. Let me pull you in just a little tighter. So we're gonna take our cover, and don't forget your little spring, okay? It's just a little straight spring. It's gonna sit inside of here, and then it goes up against there. So get your 3 screws ready and your screwdriver. Drop it on the floor once. Pick it up. There you go. So keep your spring in there. And if you need to, now remember, let me show something else. See the double holes in the one? It only goes on one way, okay? And that double hole would be right there. So what you can do is set your spring in there and bring this down to it so the spring don't fall. How's that? Pretty tricky, huh? Okay. There we go. Okay. Now you know how to screw stuff together, so I'll speed up the film here. I think I'm going to have to take this glove off because everything's clean anyhow, and it's all ripped up. Down. Okay, that's on there. Look how nice. Woo! Okay, we're going to go around to the choke. Okay, so we're going to now look at this. See how there's some ridges in there, right there? You can see that? Okay. Now look inside of here and you'll see the ridges right there. Line your ridges up. The word of the day is ridges. That's your word this week to learn. Ridges. Yeah, I know. I know I'm not funny. We're going to line them up. Snap right in there. Remember, these are plastic, so don't get crazy and start hammering on it to get it in there. It should sit in nice and neat. Okay. Here is your screws. Oh, I forgot to clean the heads of them. Ah, that'll bother me. 1 second. Okay, I had to clean them because it just would have looked bad. All right. Now, as you can see the little arm in there, that is hooked to this butterfly. Watch. There's butterfly. There's your arm. Okay. This here, see the little hook? Now remember, your pick 34s are going to be the same, okay, for the most part. That little hook goes onto that arm. It hooks onto it. So when you put it on, this is not easy to show, you got to hook the arm into that. See what I mean? Okay. Turn it. You're going to see lines. 3 lines there and a line here. Okay. So you can put that pretty much on a center. Like I said, you're going to have this notch lined up with the center notch as a starting point. Now I'm going to hold that in place, but this is what I mean. See? Okay. You've done that. Now you're going to go ahead. I'll pull you in even a little closer, and you have to put the hold down bracket on. Now what we're going to do first is, can you see? Here, sorry. We're going to put a screw in there. Take your little plastic bushing, and it almost, I'm not saying there's threads, but it kind of threads on a little bit to where it'll hold in place. So let's take our other one. Oop. You know what? I can't. I just can't sometimes with the gloves. We're going to thread that on. They don't really thread, but you'll see. They kind of do in their own way. All right. And because once you put this against there, you're going to be fighting trying to get the plastic bushings on. And this is the hold down. It holds and keeps this from turning. Okay. I say okay a lot, huh? All right, now one more time before we tighten it, check and see. It's off a little right there. And I'll show you when I'm done. So that. And, oops, don't overdo it, because I don't want you to break it. It's aluminum we're doing with. Remember, it can strip very easily. Okay. Now, watch this. See the tension? And as that spring gets hot and the vehicle warms up, it keeps going like that, that, until it's open. Sometimes that position. And this is lined up. Where are you at? See? Okay, I guess I made my point. Go on and on and on. There's your shutoff. There's your shutoff valve. It will, when it goes like that, it needs fuel, comes through the inlet and in. When the float raises, where the bowl's filling up, it hits that and it don't let no more fuel through. And that one there is a factory Solex. It looks like a 115. Okay, so done. Now we're coming up to the next part. If you recall, this is where that ball bearing goes, okay? And also that pressed in fitting. Now, I cleaned up the fitting, the one on the taillight screw we used, but, wait, don't wire wheel it or anything, that's brass. I just cleaned it up with some triple O steel wool that's almost like fine newspaper. Clean up your ball bearing and don't lose it. Now, we got to get the ball bearing in that little hole. So basically, you're just going to stick your hands in there and put it in the hole. See it down there? And you want that cleaned out because that ball bearing needs to move. So, can you see? Here, I'll bring you in closer. So you're going to take your little fitting, okay? You're going to slide it in there. Take your hammer. Don't go crazy. I wasn't hitting it as hard as you think. You're going to take your screw out, your crooked screw. Mine's all goofed up. I've used it on like 50 carburetors. But don't bend it if you took it out of your taillight housing. If so, you can buy a new one. It ain't a big deal. Or put it on something, smack it, and make it straight again. When you pound that in, make sure this is flush with the housing. Okay? And then that part's done. We'll do the main jet next inside. I'll show you close up, don't worry. Clean the jet up, spray through that little hole after you use the ultrasonic cleaner, some carb cleaner, and make sure it sprays through properly, okay? Just put your little red tip in there and psh, psh. Okay, let me bring you up. I truly am trying my best with the carburetor, the angles, okay? So that is going to go inside of here. So you're going to bring the jet through the housing and right in, okay? I'm going to put it that way. Let me stick something under here a minute. Put the float there to let it rest on. Okay, I'm going to set. I'll be out of your way in a second. I know you can't see. Now, if you can see, I set the jet in there. So we're going to come through the side and turn it in. Now turn it in easy. It's brass. I don't mean keep repeating myself, but I see people get crazy on stuff, so give it a little snug, a little above a snug, but a snug. That's tight, okay? So, I don't believe I have... Yeah, I do. No, I don't. Maybe I do. I was hoping to have a brass or a copper bushing because there wasn't one on there, which I found odd. And that's not been a part probably since the factory. So I don't know. Oh, there we go. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and put our little cap on right there. And remember, this is all the same as the Pick 34, so don't go, ah, wish he'd do a Pick 34. I did. This one just might be a little better because I've gotten a tiny better with filming as opposed to a year and a half ago. So, okay, and I got the wrong size. There we go. That is a 13 millimeter, and that's tight enough. So that's all done. We're going to move around to the side. Okay, give me a second to readjust. So we have the carb on its side, and we're going to put our diaphragm on for a pump. Our screws are ready. I cleaned the ends up because I like doing that, and we'll put that spring on after this. What you're going to do is set your spring in place, okay? This diaphragm is still good on this one. It's not cracked or anything weird on it, so I thought there was a crack earlier. It was a mark on it. I don't have new ones to put in, and the reason being is I used this kit already on another carburetor, but we do have the new top gasket. So it's okay for right now, but always put the new ones in. You're going to set this on top of the spring, okay? Remember, this shaft goes inside that hole, all right? So we're going to put this in. Okay, let me get everything lined up here. This is like a little game. Here, I'll put that in first, in the shaft into the hole. Line up, set a screw in. We'll get two set in place, and just don't tighten them completely, but you want to give it a little snug like that. Okay. I am using a small screwdriver. I don't like to use big ones and crank and then boink. Now, also you could take that, where you got little screw out and clean out. Things this carburetor soaked very well. I don't believe there's going to be an issue anyhow. But see how that's on there. When you can, take your carburetor cleaner, I already did it, put it in all these little holes, and watch your eyes because it'll spray back, and clean them out and blow them out with air. But I think you knew a lot of these things. So let's spin this around. We're going to put this back on, which first takes a washer, okay, then your spring. Get your little washer and cotter pin ready. That's going to be a lot of fun to put back on. Okay. And put your washer on. Put it through the arm. Okay. Now we've got to, here I'm bringing it closer. Okay. Let me set this here a minute. See the hole? This has got to go in the hole. Let me put it in the top one because that looks like the one it came out of. I'll be out of your way. Calm down. Watch with your little baby cotter pin, even though it's fighting with me. I knew this was going to happen on this part, so grabbing these little things, there we go. Hold it with your thumb. I don't even know if you could see what's going on, but I'll show you when I'm done. Give me 1 second. Don't be pushy. Okay, there's that. And I'll take my screwdriver. I'll show you. Hold on. It's very difficult on camera to do some things. Okay, so we're going to, I don't even know if I'm in the camera view. Give me 1 second there. That side, we got to put in our mixture jet. Okay, I call it a mixture jet screw. Clean them up, make them look nice. Better appearance. Now, there's my screwdriver there. This has a spring, so you got to put a little bit of tension on it to get it started. Okay, now when you're tightening this in, did I get started? Yeah. When you're tightening this in, be very easy. Don't go cranking it in like a cowboy at a rodeo. Just go slow and very easy. As you can tell, you can't see my hand. I'm literally turning it. My hands are barely on a screwdriver. I'm just winding it in really easy, because if you punch it through inside or over tighten it, you're going to be bummed out, because you'll need new carburetor. You'll feel it stop, but don't do it hard. So just keep turning until you feel it right there. Okay? I don't even have, let me back you up here. This is how I'm holding it, kind of with two fingers. I'm not gripping it, okay? I'm just kind of turning it very gently, almost loose. But you'll feel it stop. When you feel it stop, look where the slot's at. You're going to come out. I start at 2.5 turns. Look it up and do your own research. So half, 1, half, 2, half. Okay? And then you can work from there. All right, that part's done. Let's turn it this way. Okay, we're going to put our tube in. I cleaned it off. I don't know if I can, I always need a magnifying glass anymore. That's what happens when you get older. I can't see the size on it, and that's down the house, so wait a minute. No, I can't see it. Okay, you're going to put that in. Don't over tighten this, you'll break the top off because it's just brass. So turn it in, give it a little snug, you're done with that part. Okay, now let's get to the float assembly, and I'm going to show you something very important on that, of course. Here is your float that you tested. You put in water to see if it would float for a while with nothing getting inside. And like I said, that's a good Solex float, made in Germany. Ooh. Okay. There's your plastic hold down. There's your little arm. Now, put your little arm through. Okay. Set it in place. Now, here's the crucial part. As you could see, it has a bend, and I know you know where I'm going with this, some of you. If you put it this way, it could block the float from going up. Make sure the curved section is towards the back of the carburetor. Okay. Snap it in place. Do you see what I mean? Okay. Now, what I was talking about here, I'll show you a quick little tutorial. There's your shutoff valve, okay? So when your carburetor is upright, this hangs down, lets the gas through. That's when your float is down. When your float, I can't do it with my fingers right now, yeah I can. When your fuel comes in here, it starts filling up the carburetor. Your float starts lifting, and when it lifts and it's far enough up, blink, shuts the fuel off. That's how that works. Like that? Sincerely, these carburetors are not hard, okay? Now, that's where your fuel sprays out, so make sure, take a little nozzle from your carb cleaner, spray it through there. Don't spray yourself in the eyes because that curves around. We're going to snap that back. I'm going to turn it until it gets down in there. Now, another lesson. See where it's aimed right now? It's going to hit your arm. This nozzle, let me get a pointer. This nozzle sprays your fuel out. It's like a little, like on your kitchen sink, huh? Anyhow, yeah, I know. You want that right down the center, right there. You don't want it hitting the side of the bowl. You don't want it hitting this arm. So you want to turn it, oop, I got it pushed down in there pretty tight. You want to turn it right to the center. Now, believe it or not, I'm looking through the camera, and it is down the center, but it don't look like it. There we go. It's the way I'm holding it angled. You want that right down the center, so it don't spray the bowl, and it don't spray that arm. You want it right down there, because if not, you're going to have an issue. Now, You do what you want to do, but I give it just a slight tap. Okay, you're going to bend it if you hit it hard. I can tell you that right now. So this little ridge right here, see the little ridge? I take my screwdriver and put it on there, and I give it a little tap. Nothing major, just to make sure it's in tight, okay? And once again, yeah, it's right down the center. You want it right down the center. You don't want it to hit the bowl or the bar, okay? Now we have that done. Let's go ahead and put our top on. Not that top. Okay, now everything is fine inside. I'm just checking everything. Remember, match up the gasket with the old gasket. We have a nice new one here. It's all pretty looking. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and pull this lever back a little wee bit. Whoop. Get this on and lined up with the gasket. Okay, and we're going to put our screws on. You have your 5 screws. Always clean the heads off, make it look good. So we'll set them in place. Make sure your gasket's lined up, don't forget, okay? Because you don't want nothing bad to happen while you're doing it. Okay, so I'm gonna do a, whoops, it moved on me. I'm trying to keep you in camera view the best that I can. This is off, there we go. I like to crisscross when I do the final tighten. I'm in your way, aren't I? Okay, just right now barely snugging. I want to get everything down even. When I work with aluminum, I'm very gentle with it, as you should be too. And it don't make me an expert, it's just what I do. Now, I'm going to snug, 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 snug. I'm going to do it like a crisscross. You do it what way seems fit for you. If I'm in your way, just bear with me a minute, because there's really no way around this. Let me get one up here, here, and here. Okay. Snug. I give it a good tight snug, but just do the best you can without stripping them. It's hard to describe a snug, but I think you know. If you're working on cars, you have a good idea. Okay. All right. That's together. We're almost finished. Looks a lot better than it did in the beginning, huh? Okay. Let's go around this side. It cleaned up pretty nice. Okay. And which wrench fit that? Yeah, it was weird. It's an 11 millimeter. Now this isn't on the 34. Okay, it has a shutoff on the other side that looks similar to this. No big deal. Like I said, they're going to be pretty much the same. Give it a snug. That's it. Don't overdo it. Okay, look at that. All right, now our hold down. This has the original tag on it, and I forgot to clean this arm up. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back. We're going to put our arm back on. I had to clean it. See this here, these tags when they're on there, you don't want to lose them because there's numbers on there. It's kind of like a secret decoder pin. Okay, that was stupid. And I think that goes like that right there, because that's where your spring's going to go. So we've got to put the screw, the tag, and that all on together. And find my screwdriver. I'll get on her. Hello. All right. Tighten that up. We're almost done here. We are almost done. Tighten that up. Oh, I forgot to clean the spring. Now the spring's clean. Not Springsteen, spring's clean. Okay. Turn spring is on. Oh, look at that. Is that not pretty? It's cleaned and ready to be put on the vehicle and adjusted. They come out really good. Really, really happy with it. Very, very nice. It was actually starting to run before when I had it on the motor, but the fuel pump wasn't pumping enough fuel up because the fuel pump is dirty. Should do a rebuild video on the fuel pump, but we'll see. So, and you can see we have the choke adjusted. You open the throttle when it's cold, it closes. And then as it warms up, it will open. Now, for the proper adjustment on this, which it's already adjusted, I'll show you something. Right there is kind of a starting point at the lowest cam lobe for your screw here, okay? But it's cold start, so obviously it's gonna close. Okay, I'm really happy. That actually came out very, very nice. It really, really did, and I say that with confidence. Nice and clean, everything's clean inside. That's the way to do it. All right, give me 1 second here. So as you can see, this came out beautiful and that works nice. Very happy with the ultrasonic cleaner. I did a couple carburetors in some previous videos way back. If you scroll through my playlist and that, you'll find them. And they come out good, no doubt. But I had to soak them for 4 hours, 5 hours, so on and so on. Clean, blow them out, soak them again for 4 hours. This cut my time down to nothing. So, and I believe it got much better inside internally. So it's all cleaned up, ready to be mounted back on the engine. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. Next week, I'm going to do a handbrake removal because a lot of people have been having trouble with the button on their handbrake. I'm going to show you what they do and what causes it. In the meantime, I'm already doing the inner well, cutting it out and doing stuff. But it's going to take me, a couple of weeks of work, and then I'll merge it all into one video and show you it instead of playing games. Thanks for being here. I hope you joined the Facebook group. I hope you're part of it. And please check out the website. God bless. And thank you for being here. Remember, everything will get better in time.